The South Africa versus Ireland hype train is about to reach top speed as Ireland have announced their side. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers, and yeah, let me preview the game, and I will do a combined team with all 46 players available. Which 23 would I choose? We have had 2 full days of digesting the Springbok side and their 7-1 split. Matt Williams has burst another blood vessel, saying it's wrong. Keith Wood has urged World Rugby to change the rules after the World Cup. Meanwhile, Andy Farrell has been cool as a cucumber, and I'm sure he will have just been letting all of that wash over him. And Ireland have named their team. If you appreciate the content on the channel, then please hit subscribe, leave your comments, because I reckon you probably have some disagreements or some thoughts on my combined 15, which I've got to say I have never found doing a combined 15 as hard as this one. But yeah, let's get into it. As you can see, I'm in the van currently, just parked outside the Stade Velodrome in Marseille, where I'm going to be watching France-Namibia a little bit later. And I honestly have nothing better to do than sit and wait for this. And there it is. Ireland side, they make one change from the team that put Tonga away handily, and that change comes at scrum halfway. Jamison Gibson-Park starts, so Conor Murray moves on to the bench. Other than that, it's as you were. And, I mean, I don't know about you, but I found myself looking straight for the bench with the Ireland team, just as I did with South Africa. And just as Andy Farrell has done in all of his 44 matches as Ireland head coach so far, he's picked a 5-3 split on the bench. I think, had Andy Farrell changed that and gone away from that blueprint that he's always used, then I think it would have been a little bit of a psychological win for Jacques Nienaber and Rassie Erasmus, because they would have forced Ireland into changing what they do. I quite like the fact, Ireland are the world #1 team. South Africa are the world champions. They've got the swagger to be able to do what they want. Ireland are the world #1 team, and they have beaten everybody over the last couple of years. So they shouldn't move away from what they have already done. So as you can see, the other big news for Ireland is Dan Sheehan is on the bench. He is fit to return, and it was a question of, would he be used at all? And then because he's a player of such quality, I think it was, yeah, he is going to be used, but do you risk starting him or do you put him on the bench? Andy Farrell has gone for the latter, and Ronan Kelleher has been playing really well, and to be fair, so is Rob Herring. They would have been quite confident to save Dan Sheehan, but you've got to have a proper crack at the world champs, haven't you? And the other news, Jack Conan, as was announced earlier in the week, is not going to be fit. Ireland have a week off after this game, so he should be fit for the final pool game. Hasn't made an appearance in the World Cup yet. So the forward replacements outside of the front row are Ian Henderson and Ryan Baird. Let's just remind ourselves of the South African team that they'll be going up against. And you can just see matchups everywhere, can't you? And just have a look at those. And what I'm going to do next is show you the decision I came to with picking a combined 23-man squad. So what I've done is, with each jersey, Stephen Kitsoff versus Andrew Porter, shirt 1 versus shirt 1, Mbonambi versus Kelleher, etc., going down the team. And it's really, really, really hard. As you will see right now. Let me show you what I came up with. And I've never done this before. I've put little stars next to some of the names. And those stars represent positions where, honestly, it's total 50-50. And it was just a gut feeling, just went with one over the other. And as you can see, there's 5 of those in the squad that I've chosen. It's so difficult. These are 2 incredible rugby teams in different ways. As you can see in the front row, Stephen Kitsoff and Bongi and Mbonambi, with Tyg Furlong, who I would have quite happily been Franz Mulherber, to be honest. A lock each. That is the best lock pairing in world rugby. But James Ryan and Franco Moster wouldn't be far behind if they were a lock partnership. The back row, Pieter-Steph du Toit and Caelan Doris. I found those fairly simple selections. And obviously, I've flipped Pieter-Steph du Toit into the conventional 6 jersey. I know South Africa put their blindside flanker in 7. And Sia Khaleesi was the one I picked. World Player of the Year, Josh van der Fleer, not in my 23-man squad. The only reason for that is Sia Khaleesi has been that good. in the first couple of games of the World Cup. Like, incredible how good he's been already. But I put a star next to his name because I'll be quite happy with Josh van der Fleer. Same goes at scrum half. Jameson Gibson-Park, I think, has, in the last year or so, been a significantly better scrum half than Faf de Klerk. And when Faf de Klerk came back from playing club rugby in Japan, he didn't quite look at the races. And that goes for a few of the South African players playing in Japan. Peter Steph Toy would be another one. But they are peaking right now. And Faf de Klerk was a bundle of energy the other day. So I've just edged him. Johnny Sexton at half-back. The two Irish centres, although that Damien Dialende and Bundiaki matchup is going to be so explosive. Both South African wingers. But honestly, Mac Hansen is playing that well that I could quite happily flip Kurt Lee Arendse for Mac Hansen. Hugo Keenan at fullback. He is operating on another level from most fullbacks in world rugby. So you can see there, Ireland have got the edge in the backs. South Africa have the edge up front. And South Africa also have the edge on the bench, where I've gone for a 6-2 split. Rather than a 7-1 and not a 5-3, I thought, I'll go down the middle. And I picked 6 South Africans. But Dan Sheehan is a massive boost. So and Robbie Henshaw would get into most international rugby teams to start. So they've got incredible talent on the bench. I mean, this game is unreal. It's unreal. And honestly, I could sit down in another half an hour and I could change that team and flip a load of the names around, and it would be an incredible, incredible match. I guess the thing is, actually, individual selections don't totally matter in rugby full stop anyway. It's quite good to see where the real interesting matchups are. But especially with these two teams, it doesn't really matter because they are such units. And I mean units as in, they're massive, but no, they're just such tight units. The Ireland team is more cohesive. And I used the phrase after their last game against Tonga, I used the phrase hive mind. And that's how I think about Ireland. They're just all on the same page. It's incredible to watch. They just kind of move so fluidly as one. They all know what each other are doing. And South Africa are the same. They've got that unity of purpose. And on this occasion and with this game, that unity of purpose is to batter Ireland up front and bring an unreal physical challenge to them, which Ireland are going to have to work so hard to match up to. So that old phrase, I'm assuming this phrase gets used around the world, certainly something that I always have heard growing up, but forwards decide who wins the game and the backs decide by how much. If that is the case, then it would be easy to look at South Africa with their forward power and think, well, advantage South Africa. They may well have the edge. They'll decide who wins the game. And the backs will decide how much. And, I mean, the explosive gas in that South African backline is frightening. I just think, when it comes to predicting this game, I think it'll be close. And I could see either team winning. I just think in very, very key positions, Ireland have an edge. I think the number 8 has Caelan Doris has an incredible rugby brain on him, and just links up so well, and just makes such great decisions. And the same is at 10, Johnny Sexton, who's been playing brilliantly. There's not many players who could have that much time out, and he's had a few occasions in recent months and years where he's had extended periods out and he's just come back and just looked great straight away. Johnny Sexton is looking fantastic. And Hugo Keenan at fullback. That's not to knock Damien Willemse or Marnie Libbok. What they can do in attack is incredible. I just think these are going to be two ferocious defences, and it's going to be a question of what can you do in the pressure cooker. And I just wonder if 10 and 15 for Ireland, and a guy like Gary Ringrose at 13, who's so important to that Irish team. I think I'm edging for Ireland narrowly, but this is going to be one of the great games. Outside of the Lions series, this is the biggest game of rugby union since the last World Cup final. And it would be worthy of being a World Cup final. It may well yet be a World Cup final. These are two outstanding rugby teams, and I cannot wait to get there to Paris to just sit and watch and admire and report back to you here on Egg Chasers. thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your support. Hopefully, if I haven't already, I will earn your subscription on this video and keep checking in for the next ones that are coming. And I'm going to go and see if I can get into the media room at the Stade Velodrome here in Marseille now. So, yes, I will see you on the next one.